trip here in New Zealand. We're backpacking, and we have just stopped off at a place we thought was Hobbiton, but it's not. It's actually, I can't even say whatever that word is. And pretty soon you guys are gonna see us being abducted by some crazy hillbilly guy. And we provide the goods for world-class milk. But I'm not gonna share with you guys how we provide the goods. We just do.
Milk is about a farmer called Dale who has kind of inherited this farm from his family. He's a young enough fella and he's trying to do the best with the land he's got, and he hits upon a strategy to kind of make his milk better than anyone else's, and that's to kidnap women and milk them and kind of mix it into his milk supply. Milk's kind of set in two time periods. There's sort of like a moody dairy farm and there's a kind of a cheerful small town. And we got very lucky with the weather. It totally cooperated. It was beautifully and sunny when we were filming in Puhoi, and it was lovely and cloudy and moody when we were filming out at the farm in Bethel's. Yeah, and you girls are kind of just like having a little meal, I guess, about it's nice place. You're really excited about stuff. You're not sure. You're a bit like, I've seen better. So the small town where milk is kind of set is a fake place that I made up called Kaimarapuri, which isn't a proper kind of word, but if you sort of run it through Google Translate a couple of times, it comes out as sort of like dark food place, which I thought was kind of fitting. The town we used to stand in was Puhoi, north of Auckland, which is a lovely little town, and we got access to a fantastic pub up there, the Puhoi pub, which is sort of like a beautiful kind of half biker, half country pub. It's got just the perfect aesthetic for a country pub. We also made a town sign, which has got a very sort of cheerful, happy cow with sort of welcome to Kaimarapuri, milk capital of New Zealand on it. That was a bit of a team effort. I kind of designed the sign, and then my dad spent 4 days in here painting and weathering and aging the sign and sticking the cow on. It was a real business. We used Jonker's Farm out at Bethel's Beach. They're pretty film friendly. They've had a few commercials and films go through. We actually filmed in the house and around the house that Mahana was filmed at. We used it as our Dale's farmhouse, and then we used an old wool shed as the milking shed. So not quite true as to what a milking shed would actually look like, but it still kind of had that spooky dark wood farmyard aesthetic. And then we dressed it filled with industrial equipment and pumping equipment and hoses coming down from the ceiling to sort of turn it from, you know, just an empty stockyard into something that would look like it was sucking the life out of people.
I'm making the apparatus for the milking piece going onto it. How do you say that? The milk machine which goes into the breast.
The milk machine?
Yeah. A milking machine. The evil milking machine.
We had to have actors that were prepared to lay it on the line, as it were, and be comfortable, you know, having something attached to them and making sure it was all, you know, they were treated with respect and we weren't showing anything we weren't supposed to. And they were great. Tash in particular was fantastic. They were, you know, she totally got into it. She did a fantastic job. And action!
So I play Beth, who is an American tourist and got off in the wrong stop. She was meant to go to Hobbiton and she screwed up because she read the map wrong, and so they got off the stop early and ended up at a pub, and then she wakes up and she's been drugged and she's basically walked into a nightmare.
So there's a moment where Farmer Dale is we've just seen his barns filled with these women. They're sitting there, the pumping unit's off at the moment, and he goes to a switch, flicks the switch, and the pumps come to life and they start screaming and all the milk's getting sucked out. And we had this pumping unit that we'd kind of built into part of the barn. It was actually an old pull pump, and we do this great ominous sort of tracking shot into it, but of course it's not plugged into anything. So we got our art director Henrik with a stick just to sit behind the pump, and then as we tracked in we called action and he just sort of went and the pump started vibrating as if, you know, there was all this energy and milk and stuff coursing through it.
So some farmers like to pasteurize their product so it keeps longer, but I think milk's best when it's freshest. So real raw, all natural here. Whoopsie daisy, should really keep some trade secrets, eh? But let me show you.
So the milking devices I built about 24 hours before we started shooting, and they're pretty simple. They are just dog and cat water bowls attached to a sheet of rubber, drilled out, so there's sort of kind of suction holes, and then with some breathing masks, the kind of respirators you'd get in an ambulance attached to them, and then that's all wired up with IV tubing to a little bag to collect the milk, and then just kind of covered in all sorts of extra bits, some strapping and some greebles and stuff to make it look a bit more industrial. Our art director Henrik kind of wired that all up to some hosing coming from the ceiling to make it look like it was part of sort of a bigger pumping unit and bigger machinery. And we were constantly sticking those things back together. We'd hot glued all the bits on, and as soon as the actors started moving around, one of the cups would pop off and we'd have to get in there and glue it back on. It's totally my fault. I should have built better props. So Shannon, our makeup artist, did a fantastic job kind of keeping the actors in sort of various stages of breakdown. So my brief to her was pretty vague, basically that when this pumping gear is turned on, it should be like the life force is being sucked out of them, and then when it's turned off, they should sort of be dry and desiccated. And so she took that brief and ran with it, and actors, they turned up in sort of beautiful white, clean hospital gowns and linen, looking great from filming our 9 months earlier at the pub scenes, and she, in a very short space of time, turned them into people that looked like they'd been stuck in a barn for 9 months. They was, you know, dirty. We took the gowns and broke them down, chapped everybody's lips and made them look like, you know, they'd had all the liquid taken out of them. She added bruising all around, kind of where the pumping gear had been attached, and of course they had to have fake pregnant bellies as well. So it was a bit of a convoluted makeup setup, but she did a fantastic job. I think it looks great.
Alright, I think that's good for tomorrow.
I love that how you're not just makeup, you're like a performer at the same time.
Oh, I am. I am a performer.